There's a country that has been hiding its secrets for centuries. Not behind conspiracy theories or political propaganda, but behind mud brick walls, mountain ranges, and a culture of deliberate silence. We hear about Persian carpets, ancient poetry, and legendary hospitality. But behind that beautiful facade, stories that will make your skin crawl. These aren't urban legends. These are documented facts, confirmed by historians, archaeologists, and eyewitnesses. 7 secrets, 7 layers of a country we think we know. Spoiler: we know almost nothing. Iran isn't just a country, it's a geological and historical palimpsest. Think of a manuscript written over another manuscript, over another. Every century left its own layer. Temples built on ruins of other temples. Cities grew on the bones of previous cities. Trade routes carved over paths that were already ancient when Rome was young. Dig into the ground anywhere in Iran, and you'll likely hit something thousands of years old. The past here isn't behind museum glass. It's literally under your feet. It bleeds through the walls. It rises from the earth every time someone picks up a shovel. On the outskirts of Yazd, a city in central Iran, 2 low stone structures rise from the scorched desert. From a distance, they look like natural hills. A tourist could walk right past them without a second glance. But climb the narrow stone path to the top, what you see will stay with you forever. There's a circular stone platform with a shallow pit in the center. This is a dakma, a Zoroastrian burial structure. And what happened here for thousands of years challenges every modern assumption about death and dignity. Zoroastrians believed that earth, water, and fire were sacred. Contaminating them with a dead body, unthinkable. Burial in the ground would defile the earth. Cremation would insult fire, the holiest of all elements. So what's left? You give the body to the birds. The deceased was carried to the top of the tower and laid on the stone platform. Men placed in the outer ring, women in the middle, children closest to the central pit, the most protected even in death. Then the vultures came. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of massive birds would descend on the tower. Within hours, the bones were clean. Then, nasalers, special attendants, would collect the bones and drop them into the central pit. Sun and wind slowly turned everything to dust. The towers of silence in Yazd were in active use until the 1960s. People who are 60 or 70 years old today remember watching vultures circle over the towers as children. Local elders describe processions in white robes. The smell that settled over the city on burial days, unmistakable, unforgettable. The Iranian government officially banned the ritual in 1970, but some researchers believe remote communities continued it secretly, at night, away from authorities. Today, the tower is a tourist attraction. You can walk to the top, stand on that same stone platform, look down into the pit. The bones are gone, cleared out long ago. But when the wind moves through the old stones and a lone bird circles above your head, your imagination does the rest. As vulture populations declined due to urbanization and pesticides, there simply weren't enough birds to clean a body in hours. The process dragged on for days. Neighborhoods downwind began to complain loudly. The ritual that worked perfectly for 3,000 years failed because of a modern ecological crisis. In the mountains of northern Khorasan province, surrounded by empty ravines, stand the ruins of a village abandoned decades ago. Crumbling mud brick walls, collapsed roofs, doorways hanging with rotten timber. Locals from nearby settlements absolutely refuse to go anywhere near these ruins after dark. The legend says the village was cursed after its inhabitants killed a wandering dervish, a holy man who had only asked for water and a place to sleep. As he died, he cursed them. The earth beneath you will yield no harvest. The water in your wells will turn bitter. And at night, among your houses, shadows will walk of souls not yet born, but already doomed. Researchers believe there may be a geological explanation. Underneath many Iranian mountain villages sit tectonic fault lines that slowly release sulfurous gases. At certain concentrations, those gases cause headaches, hallucinations, and sudden overwhelming feelings of dread. In enclosed spaces, the effects are even stronger. People start seeing and hearing things that aren't there and call it a curse. In the Dasht-e-Kavir desert, there are spots where the earth suddenly collapses beneath your feet, revealing underground cavities below. In the Zagros Mountains, caves produce sounds eerily similar to human moaning. That's just wind through narrow stone crevices. But try explaining that to a shepherd alone at night. Iran is a country where the geology itself writes horror stories. No wonder its folklore is filled with cursed places, shape-shifting demons, and restless spirits. In 2006, a group of Iranian speleologists squeezed through a passage barely wide enough for a human body. What they found on the other side stopped them cold. A vast underground chamber, its walls covered in thousands of drawings, human figures, animals, strange creatures with human bodies and bull heads. All of it painted in ochre and charcoal thousands of years ago. In a smaller chamber deeper in the cave, researchers found dozens of human skulls arranged neatly along the walls. Some of them had holes drilled into them. Clean, deliberate holes, evidence of trepanation. Trepanation is one of the oldest surgical procedures in human history. It appears everywhere from ancient Peru to prehistoric Europe. These skulls were 5,000 to 7,000 years old, some of the oldest evidence of trepanation in the Middle East. Several skulls showed signs of bone healing around the holes. These patients survived the surgery. They had their skulls opened and they kept living. 7,000 years ago, no anesthesia, no sterile instruments. But why were some skulls trepanned after death? One theory, drilling a hole to release the spirit of the dead, allowing it to leave the body freely. A third theory points to the arrangement of skulls facing a central point, like an underground temple of the dead. And there's a fourth theory, a war trophy room. But that hits a wall when you realize the collection includes women and children. In Loristan province, a cave was found with wall drawings of creatures that match no known animal, elongated limbs, oversized heads, something like wings on their backs. The cave was sealed, access restricted, and full excavations are still years away. Hamadan is one of the oldest cities on Earth. It sits on a high plateau, surrounded by mountains, clean air, abundant water, fertile soil. But Hamadan's position at the crossroads of east-west trade routes made it the perfect disease incubator. Caravans moving along the Silk Road brought more than silk and spices. They brought fleas, and those fleas carried plague. When the plague arrived, it didn't just kill, it emptied cities entirely. Streets piled with bodies that no one was left to bury. Houses where entire families died in a single night. Survivors fleeing in terror, spreading the disease to surrounding villages as they ran. The Arab historian Ibn al-Athir described how city dogs turned feral because they had learned to feed on the dead. When the dead outnumbered normal cemeteries, authorities ordered mass burial pits dug outside the city walls. Bodies were stacked in layers, covered with lime and buried. Then the city grew over them, forgot about them, built new neighborhoods directly on top. In the 20th century, workers installing water and sewage lines kept hitting layers of bones and skulls, sometimes only 1.5 feet below the surface. Hamadan stands on those bones today. Beneath its streets and parks lie thousands of nameless victims, no monuments, no memorial plaques. The Black Death killed between a quarter and a third of Iran's total population. Entire cities became necropoles. Authorities burned bodies inside empty houses. The smell of burning flesh hung over cities for weeks. In 2004, a farmer named Hussein was deepening a well in his courtyard. When the ground collapsed beneath him, he fell into darkness. The first thing he felt was the cold, bone-deep, underground cold that hadn't moved in centuries. He stood in total blackness, hearing only dripping water, with no idea where he was. When neighbors descended with lanterns, they found a tunnel stretching into impenetrable darkness, the entrance to a city sealed for 1,000 years. The underground city of Nushabad is a 3-level labyrinth of tunnels, rooms, ventilation shafts, and traps carved into soft limestone. Its full extent still hasn't been mapped. Archaeologists keep finding new passages and chambers, living quarters with niches for oil lamps, food storage rooms, wells with drinking water, even a primitive sewage system. The tunnels were deliberately made low and narrow. You can only move through them crouched or on all fours. That's not a design flaw, that's the whole point. An enemy inside couldn't use weapons, couldn't move fast. At every turn, defenders waited in the darkness, and the invader had no way to see them coming. At several points, a tunnel forks. One path goes deeper into the city, the other ends at a vertical shaft several meters straight down. In complete darkness, an intruder would inevitably choose the wrong path and fall. There are also narrow slits in the walls through which defenders could thrust spears while remaining completely invisible. People lived here for weeks, maybe months, waiting for the killing above to stop. Imagine enemy soldiers burning your home just meters above your head, and you're sitting in absolute darkness, covering your child's mouth so they won't cry. Archaeologists found a child's sandal in one of the chambers, small worn, made from rough-cut leather. One small sandal and an entire world of terror opens up behind it. Children were here, dragged into the dark to be saved from the slaughter above. In Khorasan, locals had long known about strange holes in the ground from which warm steam rose in winter. Ventilation shafts for another underground complex sealed centuries ago. Some researchers believe these underground cities weren't isolated shelters, but parts of a connected network beneath the entire plateau. In the province of Chahar Mahal and Bakhtiari, deep in the Zagros Mountains, there is a place local people call the Valley of the Jinn, a narrow gorge squeezed between sheer cliffs hundreds of meters high with a small river running along the bottom. During the day, it's gorgeous, dramatic, wild mountain landscape, but after dark, everything changes. Local villagers say the gorge produces sounds at night that cannot be explained, not wind, not running water. Something between a low rumble and a rhythmic knocking, rising and falling, as if someone deep in the rocks is hammering on stone. And sometimes, layered over that, something like distant chanting, monotone, wordless, one sustained note. Local shepherds refuse to bring their flocks into the gorge after sunset. They claim animals become agitated long before any human ear can hear a thing. Temperature swings between day and night cause rock formations to expand and contract, creating knocking and cracking sounds. Underground water flowing through narrow stone channels can produce resonant humming. Wind through specific rock shapes creates what geologists call the singing rocks effect. But here's what doesn't fit any of those theories. Iranian researchers set up recording equipment in the gorge and spent several nights there. They confirmed the anomalous sounds, but also detected something else. On certain nights, the air temperature inside the gorge dropped 8 to 10 degrees Celsius in just minutes. This drop showed no correlation with wind, cloud cover, or any other meteorological factor. It simply happened, and then reversed just as suddenly. The researchers honestly admitted they couldn't explain it. The Valley of the Jinn keeps its secret. In the dashed Elut Desert, on certain days in late summer, a low, sustained rumble rises from deep in the sand, like a massive engine running somewhere underground. Geophysicists link it to billions of sand grains simultaneously contracting as they cool. But try telling that to a nomad crossing the desert at night, alone. They know the desert speaks, and the smart ones listen. Iran is sinking. Not metaphorically, literally. Over the past 2 decades, satellite data has documented catastrophic land subsidence across the entire country. In some areas, the ground is dropping 25 to 30 centimeters every single year. Cracks, hundreds of meters long, are splitting fields and roads in half. Buildings tilt and fracture. Foundations tear apart. In Isfahan province, entire residential buildings had to be evacuated. They were visibly sinking, watched by the people who lived in them. More than 700,000 legal and illegal wells now pump from underground aquifers faster than those aquifers can naturally refill. When a water-bearing layer empties out, the ground above it loses its support and collapses downward. This process is irreversible. Even if every pump stopped tomorrow, the land would not rise back. The structure is permanently destroyed. Subsidence threatens historical monuments that have stood for millennia, including Persepolis and the great mosques of Isfahan. Iranian scientists call it a silent catastrophe. Silent because it happens slowly. No explosions, no sirens, but the consequences may be more destructive than any earthquake. Lake Urmia, once one of the world's largest salt lakes, has lost more than 80% of its volume. What's left is a blood-red puddle. The Zayonde Rud River, which sustained Isfahan for centuries, now runs dry for months at a time. Ancient stone bridges span empty riverbeds. Red zones on the subsidence map cover enormous territories around Tehran, Isfahan, and Mashhad. Most of urban Iran is in the danger zone. Experts warn that within 20 to 30 years, significant portions of Iran could become uninhabitable. That's satellite data and hydrological modeling, not alarmism. A country that has fed and watered its people for 7,000 years may lose the ability to do so within a single human lifetime. And this is happening right now, every day, every hour, while we're having this conversation. The ground beneath Iran is slowly, silently, and relentlessly collapsing, and stopping it may already be too late. Take Hussein, the farmer who discovered the underground city. He just wanted a deeper well. When the ground opened up and he fell into the dark, the first thing he felt was cold, the cold of air that hadn't moved in centuries. When neighbors climbed down with lanterns, the local cleric declared it off-limits, an abode of the jinn. It took months before archaeologists arrived. The Nassalars, hereditary servants of the Towers of Silence. Their profession passed from father to son for generations. They lived apart from the wider community, respected but kept at a careful distance. Their hands touched the dead, their clothes smelled of decay. Under Zoroastrian laws of ritual purity, they couldn't touch ordinary people without special cleansing rituals. They were human bridges between the living and the dead. The last Nassalars of Yazd described the hardest part. It wasn't the sight of it. You get used to that. It was the silence. When a body was placed on the tower, the waiting began. Sometimes vultures arrived within minutes. Sometimes it took hours. All that time, the Nassalar stood alone, between earth and sky, between the dead and the living, waiting for nature to do its work. The worst times were winter. Vultures came reluctantly in the cold. A process that took hours in summer could stretch to a full day. He would stand on the tower all night, wrapped in sheepskin, listening to the howling wind, waiting for dawn when the birds would finally descend. He said that on those nights he talked to the dead, not because he believed they could hear, just because there was no one else. Iran is a country built on thousands of layers of secrets. Every new archaeological season, every construction site, every collapsed well reveals something new. Under the glittering tile domes of its mosques and behind the walls of its palaces lies another Iran, ancient, dark, full of bones and silence. Iranians know this. They grew up with these stories. They heard them from their grandparents. They live with them every day, but they're not afraid. Or more precisely, they've learned to live with fear. When your house stands on a plague burial pit, when a 1,000-year-old tunnel runs beneath your courtyard, when the mountains make sounds no one can explain, you either lose your mind or you learn to accept it. They brew tea, they lay out carpets, they recite the poetry of Hafez and keep living on Earth that holds more secrets than anywhere else on the planet. Maybe that's the real secret of Iran, the capacity of 90 million people to live ordinary lives on top of 7,000 years of nightmares. Beneath that turquoise dome, rituals were performed whose meaning has been lost forever. Beneath that bazaar, there may be hundreds of nameless plague victims, and in the mountains behind that city, there's a valley where locals don't go after dark. Iran is not one country. It's many countries layered on top of each other, and the deeper you dig, the darker it gets. The towers of silence remains dropped into a pit, the cursed villages, gases rising from geological faults, the cave of skulls hidden for millennia beneath the earth. The plague mass graves buried under the foundations of modern homes, the underground cities, entire labyrinths carved from bedrock. The Valley of the Jinn, anomalies born from underground processes, the sinking ground, the earth literally swallowing itself into a void. Iran is a country where the most terrifying things are always hidden below, beneath a thin crust of soil and stone. When you know that beneath your feet lie bones, darkness and void, you treasure light, color and sound all the more. When you live on land that can open up at any moment, you build domes that reach toward the sky. When your history is 7,000 years of catastrophe, you write poems about love and wine. Iran keeps its secrets patiently, silently, as it has for the last 7,000 years, and the most terrifying ones may not have been found yet. Somewhere beneath the Iranian plateau, in a tunnel no human eye has seen, in a cave whose entrance collapsed long ago, lies an 8th secret, a 9th, a 10th, hundreds more that we may never know about. Because Iran is a country that knows how to wait. It has waited 7,000 years. It can wait a little longer. But we'll keep digging, because every time someone pushes a shovel into Iranian soil, they risk finding something that overturns everything we thought we knew. The most important discoveries always lie a little deeper than we're willing to dig, a little further than we're willing to go, and a little darker than we're willing to look.